Bubble, bubble, toil and trout. My name's Bessie and I've got gout. Hello everyone, welcome back to my spooky Chanel this Spooktober 2020. I mean, do we actually need 2020 to be any more frightening than it already is? But here I am, girls, dressed as a witch to take you today on a journey down to investigate Shields Green. My name's Bessie, and I don't believe in cars, but please tell me, little cauldron, what's in my Ming vase? I love a good rhyme. Who doesn't love a good rhyme? Oh my god, absolutely ridiculous. I've just hit myself in the face. Can you believe that? Pop you over here, girls. Can you also believe I have this disgusting little spider in here? Well, girls and guys and non-binary pals, it is time for that little faithful time of the month that nobody knows about because I haven't been making it monthly. We are going to be doing a deep dive into makeup that could kill you. This time, it's a spooky Halloween edition. We're going to be talking today about Shields Green. Now, Shields Green, as far as I know, without actually getting into it yet, just yet, girls, just yet, hold your horses, hold your skeletal horses, skeletal war horses. Hail Sylvanus! So I have zoomed you in, my little pretties. If I remember correctly, Shields Green is the green that the Wicked Witch of the West wore in the original Wizard of Oz film, and I'm assuming that there is lots of toxicity and excitement that goes around with it. Although realistically, it wasn't very exciting if you were actually using it back then because, you know, you could probably die. Why don't we hop over to Google? This interactive tome must take me there. It's getting a bit much, isn't it, girls? Shall I stop doing that? Shields Green. Now, this is spelt very interesting. Shields Green. There's a second one called Paris Green. Oh, I want to have a little look at this. Come along then, girls, let's go. So, onto Wikipedia we go. Let's have a little look-see. So, Shields Green, also known as Schloss Green. Schloss? Schloss? That's quite a word, isn't it, my little creatures? Is a chemically cupric hydrogen arsenite. If there's one thing we've come to love in this series, it's putting arsenic in everything. Buy some arsenic today. It's the most wonderful product you could ever use because it'll be the last one you ever do. Honestly, it's just too much, isn't it? It is chemically related to Paris Green. Now, I'm also going to look into Paris Green because I do not know what that is. I'm very excited about that. Anything with like a name, like London Blue, Paris Green, I'm like, oh, what happened there, sis? Tell me. I'm a witch and I need to know. Available on iTunes later. It is a yellowish green pigment which in the past was used in some paints but has since fallen out of use because of its toxicity and the instability of colour in the presence of sulfides in various pollutants. Oh my god, this green, this Shields Green has got everything. It's got pollutants, it's got arsenic, it's got uneven pigment, and it's got potential death through toxicity. Shields Green was invented in 1775. 1775? Is this the year before America declared independence? Is that 1776? Suspicious. Maybe not at all, actually. It was invented by Carl Wilhelm Scheele. I love a good German name. Who doesn't love a good German name? By the end of the 19th century, it had virtually replaced the older green pigments based on copper carbonate. Now, if you don't know, copper is actually a metal that as it oxidizes, it turns green. In fact, there is some beautiful scenery on volcanic islands that have like copper in the soil, and eventually they turn all the rocks like this beautiful bluey green. I will insert some pictures here, girls, because I first saw this when I went to the Canary Islands, and let me tell you, it was absolutely stunning and beautiful. I can't get over it. It was amazing. So, what was Shields Green and how was it used? It was used as a colour for paper, paints, wax candles, and even in some children's toys. Do you know what I love on my children's toys? Poison! Get in my cauldron! I literally cannot believe that we used to literally poison our children. No wonder why we've got like so many mutated genes now in circulation from all of this toxicity that was created from children. No wonder why. From children? That's not what I meant. You know, imposed on children. Absolutely ludicrous, girls. It was also used to dye cotton and linen. So if you guys don't know, there is actually a fundamental difference between dyes and pigments. Oh, it goes down to how like chemicals react when they come into contact with other chemicals. Dyes have a long-lasting staining effect, and pigments usually are in some sort of like rinse-off formula, like paint or wax or something like that. So the reason why Shields green was used is because here it says that it is more brilliant and durable than the then used copper carbonate pigments. So realistically, back in the day, I can imagine like trying to paint something green with a copper-based paint would have led to like streaky, unacceptable, kind of dull things because, you know, metals oxidize over time. That's what they do. They get duller and duller and duller. Whereas this one, this lovely toxic arsenic-based pigment created brilliant and durable colors. Can you imagine literally being like,
oh my god, this amazing green wallpaper, I simply have to have it.
and then after a while being like, I'm dreaming of gout because I'm high off the wallpaper. Can you imagine? Can you actually imagine? In the 19th century, the toxicity of arsenic compounds was not readily known. Honestly, these companies back in the day that would have been like,
No, girls, of course you can buy our pigment.
no, we're not having it. Sorry, sis, send it back. 19th century journals contained reports of children wasting away in bright green rooms. What? Literal children wasting away in bright green rooms? Oh my god. So in this series, we've covered some really interesting topics already so far, and this is only like the third video. We've covered things like poisoning your husband to get him to die, and then we've also covered things like lead in the white face paint, but this is all really related to like adults. It is really alarming to read something relating to children because like, that child has had no choice in any of this. Like, they haven't just put a cosmetic on and hoped that they've survived. None of this, however, is relating to cosmetics, and we have to find what will kill you with this cosmetic. I've literally just read here, oh my god, that Napoleon died from stomach cancer, or is at least believed to be stomach cancer, and exposure to arsenic leads to an increased risk of gastric carcinoma because his walls were painted green. So it seems that Shields green was mostly used as a pigment in like
home decor, home beauty.
welcome back to my pantry vlog. Absolutely unacceptable. The idea that we were painting walls with this, we were making wallpaper, we were creating like these fake flowers that were literally painted green and burning it in wax candles. Like, how much arsenic does one person need? The next green that I really wanted to investigate, which actually is related to the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz, Margaret Hamilton, that's the one, this lovely lady. Beautiful, excellent portrayal of the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz. If you haven't seen it, I don't know where you've been, but you need to see it immediately. She is credited as being like the first ever true horror movie villain. Can you imagine being like terrified of a green witch? But you never know. Back in like the 1930s, it really was a horrific thing. Now this poor woman has had like quite not a good run when it comes to The Wizard of Oz, but we're going to talk about the green makeup. Now, I can't exactly see from the name here what exactly the green makeup is. I'm assuming it was either lead-based, copper-based, or arsenic-based, so I'm just going to read this little bit here and see what we can see. Hamilton's green makeup was copper-based and potentially toxic. So there you go, copper-based. We have a poison and had to be removed from her burned flesh with alcohol. An intensely painful process? Wait, why was her flesh burned? Hamilton's infamous witch laugh blew out sound equipment circuits. I love that. Imagine cackling and being like, I have destroyed everything, girls. Amazing. For several weeks after she completed work on the film role, Hamilton's complexion retained a green tinge from the witch's makeup. So not only that, it did kind of behave like a dye. This chemical compound of toxic madness that was applied to the skin. Apparently she couldn't even drink through it. She had to like drink everything with a straw and avoid her lips because if it got into her system, it was toxic. The idea that it had to be removed from her flesh with alcohol, and she'd suffered, oh my god, the story gets worse, girls. On December 23, 1938, while filming the Wicked Witch's exit from Munchkinland in a blaze of fire, Hamilton suffered first-degree burns on the right side of her face and second-degree burns on her right hand. The flames rose too soon before she had descended below the stage. Oh my god, She got severely burned whilst wearing poisoned green makeup and had to have it all removed with alcohol from her burned flesh. I think I've had enough, girls. I've had enough. Let's move on to Paris green. So Paris green was invented a little bit later than Shields green was. I can see here it says a green pigment also known as Schweinfurt green, emerald green, or Vienna green. All of these names for these like incredibly toxic things have like such interesting names. Like sometimes they can be quite beautiful, and it just goes to show you sometimes beauty will kill you. The colour of Paris green is said to range from a pale blue green when very finely ground to a deeper green when coarsely ground, and was invented in 1814. So realistically, that's actually quite recent in terms of like an actual pigment or an ingredient used to like dye something. Granted, it's still incredibly toxic and we shouldn't be using it, but there we go. It was invented by two chemists, Russ and Sattler, at the Wilhelm Dye and White Lead Company of Schweinfurt, Bavaria. The White Lead Company, I mean, realistically, just put it on your face, girls. Put it on your face and immediately dye. What they were trying to do is design a long-lasting green that didn't like get darker or oxidize over time like previous greens, for example, Shields green. So at the time, pigments were used for like a plethora of things, as you can imagine. Basically, what we do nowadays, we use very similar pigments across all sorts of things, whether that's face powders, watercolor paints, wall paints, car paints, all these things, dyes for clothes. Shields green is a chemically simpler, less brilliant, and less permanent synthetic copper arsenic pigment used for a short time before Paris green was first prepared. It was once used as a wallpaper pigment and would degrade with moisture and molds to arsine gas. Don't we just love more arsenic? That's what we need in this story. More arsenic.
Come on, girls, there's a sale on arsenic.
As every proper witch should have, her necklace is backwards and upside down.
Hail Satan.
So it actually says here as well that the ancient Romans potentially used a form of Paris green as well called Konichalsite? That's what it's called, as a green pigment. And the Paris green used by Impressionists is said to have been composed of relatively coarse particles. So interestingly enough, it seemed that the ancient Romans used to grind this up into like a coal for the eyes. Now, how absolutely ludicrous is that? Like, not only are you putting it in your body, why don't we just put the arsenic in our eyes? Breathe it in. Come on, girls. We don't need eyesight. We just need to be gorgeous. Oh my God. Oh my God, girls. It actually says here that it was also used as an insecticide. Can you imagine having a green pigment that is like,
I'm available in cosmetics, girls.
But I'm also available to go on the walls and kill all the bugs on your flowers.
How did no one come to the conclusion that like something killing bugs on their wallpaper or like smelling bad or like making them feel lightheaded and woozy, how did no one make this correlation to like not then put it in your eyes or on your face? Either people were a lot more susceptible to marketing back then, or people just didn't question that things actually hurt them, and they were like, oh, this is really burning me actually. Do you know what I need to do?
Puts it in the eye, puts it in the eye.
Why did people do this? And if anybody is watching from 1775, will you please let me know why? And you know what, my pretties? That concludes our little delve into the past today, girls. What have we learned today, children? We have learned that if you go down to the woods today, please don't eat the arsenic. Also, do not apply it to the eye, and don't apply it to your lips. Don't paint your walls with it. Don't give it to your children. Don't create nurseries filled with bright green toxic pigment. What on earth do you think about this whole situation? Let me know what you guys think in the comments box below. And I just want to let you guys know that I am still raising for my facial feminization surgery. I know, aren't I stunning today? There's absolutely no surgery required. The GoFundMe is in the links in the description box below. This week's Instagram shout out goes to Grinvich, which I think is perfect for this video. If you want to get featured next week, make sure you follow me on Instagram. And a big hello to my new Patreons, Salted Caramel, Danielle, and Little Squeaky Abu. And a frosty welcome to the new channel members Stefutech, Alexandra H, Rebecca, and Caitlin Wright. A massive thank you again to Erin Conkle, Megusta Lagoose, and Morrigan E. Wolf for being my top tier Patreons and channel members. I hope you're all having a very spooky October so far. I know we're not doing anything, but still, why not just get dressed up and film YouTube videos? It'll make yourself feel better, I promise. And I will see you in the next video, my gorgeous witches.